Please welcome our heroic sponsor, Vertex, and superhero James Karst. Today, he will be presenting Mastering Global Tax Compliance within Dynamics 365, proven strategies and success stories.
First of all, just want to say thank you for joining our virtual session here at DynamicsCon. Really this session is going to be, about Vertex, global tax compliance, and what's new within our solution offerings. If you have any questions or would love to reach out, and have a deeper dive, there will be contact information at the end of this session. I really encourage you to do that, and then look forward to hearing from you. All right, so just kind of jumping in, my name is James Karst. I'm the technical partner manager, that represents Microsoft within Vertex. So my role is really the go-to-market technical strategy for all the Dynamics platforms and our solutions for that. I help represent our Dynamics practice, and also have over 12 years of experience working with the Dynamics platforms specifically for tax technology. So hopefully we can provide some good insight here through this session and provide the value that you're looking for. Real quick, the agenda is just going to be a little bit about Vertex for anybody that's new that hasn't met us yet. Also, for those that have been a part of Vertex or aware of our solutions, I'll provide you some insight into what we're working on and what's new. All right, so really, if you're brand new, you haven't interacted or come across Vertex, who are we and where do we come from? So we are almost 50 years old at this point. Providing tax automation specifically for indirect tax, and we've stayed true to that even to this day, right? So we have several different solutions we'll get into that cover your full end-to-end process about indirect tax, which is your sales tax, your VAT that you may either need to be calculating or remitting worldwide. We serve over and with the solution that we're offering and talking about today, we support over 60% of the Fortune 500. We've got over 150 different integrations. So this session is specific about Dynamics, but if you all happen to be using an e-com platform or you're maybe a separate AP automation tool, whatever it might be, know that we likely have a pre-built integration that can integrate in the same fashions that we're talking about today to those solutions as well. We are a global company, not just from a physical standpoint with employees across many different countries. We also have our global solution that supports over 195 countries and all of the different VATs and specific rules that they might have. And to do that, it requires really a major research team with over 100 different tax researchers dedicated to managing and monitoring all that content and those rules across the globe. With a great solution that we have that serves those the most complex companies that are out there, we also value and prioritize our customer support experience. So we go through HCI certification, which is really a third-party certification that evaluates our support processes and ensures that we're keeping up with all those SLAs and a proper support experience for those customers. So when you do business with Vertex, you can ensure that we have the processes in place so that you can get a hold of somebody, you can report tickets, you can monitor and see those tickets, and you can ultimately get answers to those customer issues. And we make sure that that's a priority for our company. One of the different industries and sectors that we support, we have well over 3,000 different taxable categories that we research and maintain that span across many different industries, more than just what's listed here. But we find that if you happen to fall into one of these industries that's on this list, that you're likely dealing with more than usual pain in terms of managing this manually, and therefore are most interested right in tax automation. Doesn't mean that it's only this list, right? So a couple that I didn't put on here are like food and beverage, restaurants, software industry, professional services. Like, we can find that those also have unique tax rules, and we can certainly support those. We also find that many of our customers fall into this list of industries. We also, don't just support the 60% of the Fortune 500, but actually over half of our customers are actually in that lower mid-market tier. So sub 250 million. Our pricing scales all the way down to 0 to 10 million in company size and revenue, which is really great because you can take advantage of all of the capabilities, the content of our solution, but do it through a scaled pricing model that makes sense for your business, but then also grow with us, knowing that we have those capabilities as your business grows and your tax requirements change. You're committed to a solution that can scale with those requirements as well. Know that when we talk about our capabilities, it's not just the ability to calculate and determine the sales tax that you need to charge from your customer. It's a full end-to-end solution. So calculation and determination is obviously a big part of that, but so is how do we file and remit these tax returns and remit the tax liabilities that you've collected appropriately. How do we make sure that we have all of that information documented and that history so that you can support yourself and in terms of an audit? And how do we also make sure that if you're a company that has and maintains maybe hundreds or thousands of different exemption certificate documents on behalf of your customers, how do we make sure that we have those in a central repository and monitor those in an automated fashion so that your team's not caught up with doing a lot of those manual tasks. So we have a solution that also supports certificate document management. It also supports compliance and reporting. So keep in mind when you look at Vertex, we have the full end-to-end capabilities, and we can also offer these a la carte, right? So we have many companies that really approach us for all of the things, but we also have many that maybe just want to leverage us for filing and remittance, but still want to maintain the calculation themselves. So we provide those options as well as part of our solutions. It's really kind of whatever makes most sense for your business. When I talk about compliance and remittance, I wanted to go into detail here. It's obviously the United States and the U.S. returns, all the different state returns, the jurisdiction returns. So our solution has the ability to support over 14 different tax returns across the U.S., but also 300 different VAT returns across the globe. Over 50 different countries are supported with that. So if you're a global business, obviously, the highest volume here is, of course, within the United States, but we also find for VAT and other regions that, depending on the number of countries you're in, even that can become cumbersome, especially when you're required to accommodate these different filing methods and formats. So you may be experiencing the MTD, which is electronic filing format, Intrastats, the safety. Our solution that we're talking about here today has the ability to take all of your data, your transaction data. It'll compute and create all of the different filing methods or the filing forms that you need, and it'll submit them electronically, whichever way the different countries allow for. So it's really a one-stop shop across the globe for all of your different tax returns filings. A little bit about our Microsoft partnership so that you're aware, right? We are a long-standing ISV solution for Dynamics. We've supported Dynamics all the way back to AX, 2009. That has evolved into, solutions for Business Central, D365 Finance, as well as GP. We build and maintain all of those integrations in-house with our own Dynamics resources and engineering. So that's very important to know that, whatever ISVs you choose and introduce into your environment, they have the resources within to support you in case of any challenges. But also, we're maintaining those based on Microsoft's best practices. So as new versions come out of D365, whatever you're on, we're always keeping up with those versions, making sure that we're compatible in a timely fashion. We're also have been a part of a Microsoft development project. Here in the middle, you'll see the Microsoft Dynamics 365 tax calculation service. So that is a recent development project. We work with the Dynamics development team for D365 Finance, really creating a new tax API, a new tax framework that sits on top that allows us to integrate there and improve some technical experiences. So, we're happy to be a part of that project. We've launched that earlier this year. Really kind of shows our commitment and involvement with the D365 engineering and roadmap perspective. And then also we are obviously a Microsoft customer, leveraging Azure as well as many other Microsoft products, and Microsoft themselves are a Vertex O series customer, so they're leveraging all the same content, the same solution that we're talking about today to automate all of their tax indirect tax needs. All right, so within Dynamics, what are the different platforms we integrate to? We've mentioned this: finance, supply chain, as well as commerce, Business Central, sales, GP, and then also still offering a pre-built connector for AX 2012. So, regardless of what system you might be using, we have pre-built integrations that can integrate to that. That you can take advantage of. We also have, within D365 Finance is, hey, what are the different workflows that we support with our integrations? We have a very comprehensive integration that supports all the different workflows that have a tax function. So whether it's accounting or accounts receivable, sales orders, sales invoices, project billing, procurement, accounts payable, even commerce, right? Regardless of what you use within the Dynamics stack, we have an integration that would support those workflows. Same thing for Business Central. So accounts receivable, accounts payable, as well as the service management module. In case you're using service orders, we can support all of those. All right, with that, I want to, just provide a quick demonstration for those that are maybe new, wanting to kind of know what does this look like in terms of utilizing the Vertex integration within, D365. Because of time, I can't go into Business Central, but I want to note that this interaction, this experience is very much the same, within Business Central as well. So you can kind of, picture what that would look like. So if I'm in D365, create a sales order. I've got, one item on here. We've got the address, which is, going to, Colorado. If I go to the, setup, you'll notice that my sales tax group is set to Vertex AR. So when you turn this on, you no longer have to worry about sales tax groups, managing tax codes and tax rates. This is just the way to tell the system, hey, to calculate sales tax, communicate to Vertex, and it's going to do that in real time as you build the sales order. So if I go ahead and one other thing to show you, I do also have a shipping charge here for $30 on this particular order. Notice the sales tax group is still Vertex AR, but my item sales tax group is freight. So this will be our way to tell our system the different charges that you might have that could be taxed differently. In this case, freight is a really good example. It may or may not be taxable, or like in Colorado's case, the freight charge, this $30, is subject to the retail delivery fee, and that's what I want to demonstrate here. So as a sales order, or as a person building the sales order, I don't have to do anything extra. In this case, I'll just click the sales tax button, which I would normally use if I'm using D365, and it opens up this sales tax transaction screen, which gives me, hey, here's the full tax breakdown. So even though this calculation happened in O series and with that real-time API call, myself as the user, I have full visibility into those Dynamics details. So I can see the total sales tax calculated by Vertex is $170. And then I can see the breakdown by jurisdiction and by line item. So these first few rows are my $30 shipping charge. You'll see we've got a state, city, local district taxes. I can see the rates for each of those. But also notice I've got the retail delivery fee for 29 cents. So this is telling me that Vertex realized, hey, this is a freight charge, and in Colorado, that's subject to a 29-cent retail delivery fee, and went ahead and applied that just for that freight charge. Now, for the actual item, the physical item, $1,900 here, you'll notice that I've got the same taxes, state, city, local district taxes, but no retail delivery fee. So keep in mind, as you evaluate solutions and evaluate your requirements, it's important to know that it's one thing to have the rates to calculate the right taxes, but there's all kinds of nuanced situations, like in this case, the retail delivery fee, which is only subject to your shipping charges, that you have to take into consideration. So with Vertex, any of those nuances are totally handled through our content. The system just knows that, hey, this is shipping, apply only the retail delivery fee to that revenue, not everything else. There's many other situations like tier taxes in Tennessee that you need to be aware of, but know that with Vertex, those would be fully supported. All right, that's the accounts receivable side. I also want to kind of show for any companies or viewers that might be watching that are concerned about the purchasing side. Perhaps that's your bigger need, right? I need a solution that makes sure that I'm paying the vendor the right tax. So I've got an item here that I'm purchasing. It looks like it's essentially a keyboard, 100 of those. I want to know, what's the sales tax that my vendor should be charging me. So to get that, I can click that sales tax button. It opens up this screen and it tells me, hey, here's the sales tax, which is $311 that I should see billed from my vendor. But that may not always be the case. So, vendors may not have Nexus, wherever it is that they're shipping your product, right? And therefore they're not obligated to collect you sales tax. Or they just may not have the accurate, solution in place. So let's just pretend, for example, for a second, that maybe this vendor doesn't have Nexus in the state of Washington, and therefore the vendor billed sales tax amount is zero. Your users, your procurement person will be able to come in here and just simply enter here, the actual sales tax billed is zero, and then they would recalculate the tax amount. And when I do that, Vertex is going to realize, okay, you're paying the vendor zero. That's fine. It'll leave that amount zero, but it's going to self-assess consumer's use tax for the difference. In this case, the full $311 is going to be booked into a slightly different tax code. So when I post this vendor invoice, the vendor paid sales tax is going to be zero, but it's going to self-assess consumer's use tax to a consumer's use tax GL account, making sure that I'm always compliant as a company. And it's going to do that automatically. So your users don't have to worry about what's taxable, what's not taxable. All they need to do is enter the actual sales tax billed, and then the system will handle the rest of the accounting, automatically. Okay, so that provides, I think, a good example of, or an insight to, what that solution is going to look like within your D365 environment. So I want to transition back to the slides here real quickly and just talk about the, what's new. So within Vertex, we mentioned this already. We have the tax calculation service that we're a part of. We co-developed this with Microsoft, released and supported this in March 2024. What this is going to do is really improve the technical experience. It's easier to install, easier to maintain. It's going to be easier for ISVs to build around this, so we don't have any compatibility conflicts with them. And it's leveraging, the same Vertex great content and tax automation that we have across the globe. So this framework, at the end of the day, is really just going to improve your IT's experience installing and maintaining the Vertex connector to D365. We also support Azure. So we've launched this recently, which means you have the option to either deploy, when you buy our solution, deploy in Azure or deploy in AWS. So this is, really beneficial for you because your IT team could actually procure our solution through the Azure marketplace. This is great if you have, a Mac or an Azure contract with committed spend. This can help deprecate that committed spend. And then it also is going to reduce latency. So this means that, you're obviously a Dynamics shop. Dynamics is going to be in Azure. We can put O Series in Azure right next to it and optimize that performance. Last but not least is e-invoicing. So if you're a global company, you should be paying attention to these e-invoicing mandates. You should especially be paying attention to them if you do B2B business, which is where most of the mandates are happening. So you need to be aware of this, and you need to be thinking about, how do I, what technology do I put in place to help me with this e-invoicing mandate? If you're not familiar with that, e-invoicing is the real-time communication. When you process an invoice, you need to communicate that to the different tax authorities in electronic format, so that they're aware of, what was the sale, what's the VAT, and then they're receiving their funds immediately. Different countries have different ways that they're going about that, which also complicates that, right? So how do you have a standardized solution that can support all those different formats and methods? So Vertex has that in place, right? So we have a middleware service. It's a dashboard that's going to take in your data, and it's going to automatically transform that data into the appropriate electronic formats. It's going to communicate those to all the different countries, regardless of how they are enforcing that, right? So it's a one-stop shop that's really going to standardize that experience. So this is in place today, and what we're working on is our integration to D365. So out of the box, you can implement this, turn it on, and it's immediately going to be processing these e-invoices throughout the different tax authorities or countries that mandate those. So the D365 integration is something we're working on right now, and is due for Q1 of 2025. And it's something that will be in place and perfect timing for any of the mandates that are going to be happening next year. So with that, I hope you found all of that helpful. Really encourage you to reach out. You can use this contact information if you'd like to do a deeper dive, or if you have specific questions you'd like to ask. And if not, I'll go ahead and open it up to Q&A, and look forward to hearing from you.